Welcome to another episode of Behind the Business. Today I am welcomed with my beautiful client, Holly Griffiths, who is an online business manager. So she's an OBM and she helps coaches, service providers, consultants, anyone that needs support in the back end of their business and bringing their vision to life to translate that vision into organized operations while assessing, what she can to automate, delegate, and eliminate so that, her clients can lead with a movement. She is so exceptional at what she does, not to mention the most incredible personality ever. She's extremely organized, extremely systems and structures orientated, which is very similar to myself. And she's just the most incredible woman. I've had the honor of working with her now for almost a year, and within 3 months of working together, she literally tripled her revenue and she has supported her clients to generate incredible results. So I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode where you're going to learn exactly what an OBM, or like I said, online business manager is, how to know when to hire one, the differences between an OBM and a VA, what a day in a life looks like for her, how she was able to take 8 weeks off in her business and still sign clients and support clients while she was on an incredible honeymoon on the other side of the world. She traveled throughout Australia and Bali and New Zealand. She's from the UK, and it's really cool that we've worked together to help her create that kind of business and lifestyle and now support her clients to be able to do the same. So enjoy this episode. You are going to absolutely adore Holly just like I do. And I can't wait for you to walk away with a different mindset when it comes to hiring and delegating and outsourcing, and also just recognizing where you might be costing yourself so much time and money in ways that you don't even realize. Enjoy. Hello, Holly, and welcome to Behind the Business.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. This is going to be so much fun. Obviously, we work so closely together, so I've been on so many calls with you, and this just feels like another call. But the benefit is now everyone's going to value from the goodness that we usually talk about.
No, absolutely. And I think you're so right when you say that. There's so much goodness, there's so much. I have definitely learned in the last 12 months. There's been so much support. Yeah, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, likewise, likewise. So, for everyone that is listening that maybe doesn't know what an OBM is, or in other words, an online business manager, did you just want to give us a little quick background as to like who you are and what you do?
Of course, of course. So as you said, my name's Holly. I am an online business manager. So I work really closely with online business coaches. I don't work within a particular niche. I really like being in a broad range of industry, niches, businesses. And I basically help businesses bridge the gap between their vision and their execution. Business owners usually come to me when they've got this vision for this business, this movement they're trying to create, and they are like, I do not have enough time. I need someone in my business who is doing, but also doing at a high level, doing that is thinking from more of a strategic point of view, an elevation point of view, a client point of view, someone that's really in their business, gets their vision, gets their movement, and what they're trying to achieve. So coming to them with ideas on how, actually, do you know what? This is really great, but I think we're leaving money on the table here, or we could really elevate this funnel if we did X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I work with them to bring that vision to life. Usually clients come to me when they are not moving fast enough. I work with very bold, very ambitious coaches who are like, I want it done yesterday. I've got people to serve. I've got impact to create. So I am all about moving that needle in a business.
I love that so much, especially as someone who's had a business manager myself. I know how powerful that is to have that second brain in the business rather than it has to fall all on you. Like you create
Mhm.
and you create the task, you help with the execution of it, and instead being able to really lean on someone else in your business to actually know how to see that vision and also help bring that to life with a set of skill sets that the coach or business owner may not have. Makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, it's maybe sometimes not that they can't do it. All of us, the world we live in now, we have an endless amount of resources, but it's about time and it's about moving the needle, it's about serving people. And that's where that shorthand comes in as well, where it can be like, yeah, great, I've got it. Don't even worry about it. You don't have to think about it. It's done before it's even popped into your head. So like you say, that sort of that speed, that knowing is something that like my clients find really beneficial.
For sure. And I know that a lot of people might be quite new to the term OBM or online business manager, but many in the online service coaching based space know what a virtual assistant is or an online assistant. Talk to me about the difference between the two. If anyone's wondering, oh, couldn't I just get a VA or my VA to do what you do? Like, what is the difference?
100%. Okay, I love this question. Get it all the time. So the main difference between a VA and an OBM, online business manager, is VAs are there to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you as the business manager are there to say, hey, can you create this graphic? Can you send this email? Can you add these photos to my Dropbox? Their instructions and their tasks come from you.
Yeah.
You are delegating. You have to be the one you need to give them the details, the nuances, the preferences. You have to give them everything. You
It's
have
going to
to
be as good as your instructions, basically.
100%. And that is absolutely the role of a VA. And if they are doing that, they are a great VA, right? If you are
Yeah.
telling them what to do and they're executing it, amazing. When you take on an OBM, you are, I would say, up leveling in your business. You are fully stepping into your CEO role and you're like, okay, I don't want to be telling my VA what to be doing. I don't want to be mapping out every single piece of my funnel. I don't want to be building the email sequence. And it's having that person in your business that can sort of step in between you and potentially the team you already have to go, great, no worries, I've got it. We have our calls, you tell me what that vision is, and I'm the one that's going to break that down into tasks, into projects, and I'm the one that's going to delegate it. So from a business owner point of view, you are very much stepping into that visionary role within your business of going, hey, Holly, this is the vision. This is what I want to do. These are the dates. And I go, great, no worries. And that's where an OBM really comes in. I work as a manager, but more of a strategic manager to really protect your time and energy.
Yeah, I love that. And how would someone know whether they are ready for an online business manager? Like, what are the common, like, signs that a coach is ready for someone such as yourself in their business?
Absolutely. So this is such a great question because, and I hate it when everyone's like, well, it's so unique to the business. It really is, if I'm honest. I would say, on average, you are probably an online coach who is at the 20K month mark, roughly, give or take. You are doing your launches, you have got solid offers, and you are finding that you are just not moving forward quick enough. You're finding that you might have a mastermind and you are onboarding all your clients manually still. And you're like, I know there's a better way. I just don't know it, and I don't have the time or space to learn. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that is on average, but like I said, it's so unique. I have had clients come to me right at the start of their business and go, I don't know how to do any of this. Like, I need someone to help me build it from scratch. I want to do it like from the get-go. I want it built right. I want it built sustainably. I want it built for me. So I would say roughly when you're around the 20K mark a month is when most people come, but it's very unique. Some people come to me straight away when, they're like, I've got my offer, I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
So it's very unique to you, your business, the way you work, your knowledge. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
I love that so much. And if it's at all helpful for me to speak into my own experience, having hired at OBM as well, like I reckon you're right. I reckon I was also at roughly more or less that 20K per month mark. This was many, many years ago. I remember hiring an OBM felt so scary. And that's why I'm asking these questions. I was like, am I ready of this? Like, who am I to
Mhm.
of an online business manager? It sounds so high level, and in some ways it absolutely is, right? It's a big
Yeah.
responsibility you're passing over to someone that is supporting you to grow your business. And I just remember thinking, like, am I truly ready for that? And it's one of those interesting things of like, you as an online business manager, it might not look like what you're doing generates income, but it absolutely does, like indirectly at such a deep level, because we're only human, us as business owners. We can only do so much for ourselves, let alone for anyone else as well. And to have someone take all of that weight off of your plate so that you can focus on your strengths, on your skills, on your zone of genius is what actually allows you to then make so much money. And so even though you're spending money to invest in an online business manager and they're not literally generating income, what they do is they give you the capacity to generate income, and that's where the ROI is so huge. Does that feel true for you with all of your clients, like the experiences they have?
100%. And I think you're so right. It does feel really stretchy for a lot of people. It's like, hey, come into my business and step in and yes, take a load of things over, which feels really scary. And there is so much trust in that. And, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. An OBM is not a quick fix. Like if you want quick fixes, it's not your option. It's not the right thing for you. An OBM is about strategic planning, strategic building, sustainability in your business. It's about building a business that will still serve you in 5 years' time and not going, oh, this doesn't work for me anymore. It's about really thinking about that vision and building for the future. And you're completely right when it comes to ROI, because it is a process of building, making things sustainable, doing it right, building it for you and your clients. It takes time. So you may not, in that first month be like, oh, I've spent 2K a month of my OBM and I haven't had that return, but you will certainly see that tenfold down the line.
100%. And I think honestly, that goes the same with a business coach as well. Like, absolutely, I'll have clients come to me and they generate results in the first week or the first month. But, often what it looks like is you don't just step into someone's space and then you're immediately a transformed person with a transformed results. Like, good things can take time. Building solid foundations, whether that is a system or process like you're talking about, or whether in my instance it's teaching a client a strategy to implement. Results don't always happen absolutely instantly. Like there is usually like a flow on effect and time involved before results come. But then, having that strategy or having that system is the difference between, growing and scaling versus plateauing potentially. And I think that's the difference. And that's why I think in general, whether you have a business manager or a business coach or, neither, like it's so important to have that long-term mentality approach to business, because they're the ones that stand the test of time, not the ones looking for the quick fixes and the instant gratification.
100%. I think you're completely right. And the problem is with the quick fixes is that it just puts you in this cycle of you're trying to work so quickly that actually you're just sabotaging yourself down the line. Where actually, if you took some time to breathe, really lean into the changes you want to make, I use onboarding as an example all the time. I have coaches come to me that are doing 20, 30K months and they're doing everything manually in their business. And it's not that they don't know they can automate it, it's just the way they've always done it and they think it's quicker. And it might be quicker in that very short moment, but long term it's costing them hours or it's costing them financially a lot of money because they're having to pay their VA to do the same thing over and over and over again that can be automized, systemized, simplified. And it's that shift in that thought process and the mentality
Yes.
behind it that really helps you scale.
I can really see that. Like I'm sure I was like that at one point as well. Like it feels cheaper and easier to just do it yourself with certain things. But then when you look at it through a much more scalable mindset, like you're speaking into, looking at, well, your time is money, and like how much would you put on, in terms of like, what is an hour of your work actually worth, right? It's like all of a sudden you can see, well, should that time really be spent manually onboarding a client when you could just pay money and have support and have it automated and you would get so many hours back? And I think people don't realize it in the moment because they're just so busy in the doing. They literally don't even have capacity to take a
Yeah.
step back and realize how much time they're spending on things that they just shouldn't be spending time on.
100%. And it's also, as an OBM, the ability to have that big picture thinking as well. So leaning into this example we're talking about, when it comes to onboarding, it's not just about you and your back end and how you operate, it's about your client experience. Onboarding is, the statistics are wild, how important it is for your clients' feedback, your clients' retention, your referral rate is wild. It is such an important part, and yet one that's really overlooked because, like we've just said, people lean into that, like, oh, I'll just do it now. But actually, having a system that's really thought out for you and for your client elevates everyone's experience across the board. Your clients get a better experience, and in turn, they start raving about you to their clients, to their colleagues. And that's what you really want from your business, is thinking about the bigger picture and going, okay, well, I may be feeling a bit chaotic in the background and I'm copy and pasting this and I can never find this file. But actually, in turn, what does that look like or feel like to your client? Because if you're doing that in that energy, I can guarantee they're feeling it on the other end as well.
100%, 100%. I'm really curious. Walk me through what it looks like to support a client of yours. Like, tell me about an experience of like a client where of yours where they like what it looked like when they were starting out. Maybe it was a bit chaotic, no systems, doing everything manually, and what it maybe looked like, let's just say 6 months later, as a result of working with you in the back end and the front end of their business.
100%. So a lot of my clients come to me when they're like, I know I'm the bottleneck. And I love that. I think that self-awareness is so important, because me telling you the bottleneck isn't helping. Like, you have to be there yourself. So they usually come to me going, I know I'm the bottleneck. Everything stops with me. Everything goes through me. I have to do everything. Everyone needs my approval. And they're like, I know we can do it better. I just don't know how. And I need someone to take it off my plate. Usually I have a minimum 6 months period, and I think that's so important for relationship rapport, for me to learn
Yes.
your business, for us to build something sustainable. It's super important. So usually when clients on board, we focus on immediate, things that are frustrating them, things that are the things that they're like, I do not want to do this anymore. It's taking so much of my time up. So it may be a case that they come to me and they're like, I wanted to launch this lead magnet for the last 6 months and it is still sitting in my Google Drive and it is doing my head in. Or it might be I am really scattered with my socials. There's no consistency. So we focus on something really quickly so that they feel that impact. So for example, it may be, okay, we want a lead magnet. We want to launch this lead magnet. So I'd go like, great, let's launch this lead magnet. And I think what it does for clients is I can go, great, I know we need to do X, Y, and Z. And it gives them the ability to go like, oh, okay, it's being handled and they can breathe. What we then start doing is assessing how the business is set up. So, okay, where do we manage everything? Is it on sticky notes? Is it in a notepad? Is it in some random Google Doc? Is it in your emails? And we start looking at the bigger picture and start streamlining. So, for example, if there's nowhere that they're really managed in their team, maybe in a Telegram group or in a Google Doc, it's like, great, let's look at a project management tool, somewhere where we can hold your business, where you can put something that you want to do in 6 months' time that is completely irrelevant right now, but you need to be reminded of it. Somewhere we can start strategically planning workshop launches, somewhere where we can then duplicate that so we can reuse it. We then usually turn to their services, what their services currently look like, what they want them to look like. Like I said, onboarding is usually a massive one. Usually people come and they're like, this is a bit scattered. I run it here, I run it there, this happens there. So we usually streamline onboarding. A lot of people come to me when they're still signing manual contracts. They might come to me and be like, I want to elevate my mastermind. My mastermind's great. The results I'm getting are incredible. My revenue's incredible. And I know I can do more. I just can't onboard my clients quick enough. So
Mm-hmm.
we then go like, great, how do we fix that problem? And we start getting into the details of, again, one, what works for them in the back end. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we might talk it through and be like, okay, how about this? Let's do this. And it may feel really good in the moment when we're talking through how we might want to build a new workflow. But putting that into practice and actually operating it, sometimes we then need to iterate and we need to change because some things aren't as black and white as that. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it's like, here's a workflow, we put it in place and it just flows. And it's like, oh, I love this. Why didn't I do that years ago? So it's all about that process of working really closely together um, to build the systems and processes in their business. One of the most important things we do is build out SOPs. Now, as you're scaling a business, and you will know you've done this, to have systems and operations that are undocumented. The only person that knows who to do it is the person doing it.
Yeah.
It's in your head, exactly that is quite honestly a bit of a recipe for disaster. Say you're ill, say your VA leaves you suddenly out of the blue, and you're like, oh, she was doing all these tasks. No one else knows how to do them. So we do then spend some time when we've got those workflows, those systems, those processes locked down, we build them out in SOPs step by step. So you can bring on a new team member and you can go, hey, here's an SOP. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, that's really savoring not just your time anymore, your team's time, your OBM's time, your other VA's time. It really allows new team members to sort of step into that ownership of a task rather than it feeling a bit sort of micromanaged, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I think just for anyone that doesn't know, like SOP stands for standard operating procedures, right? And that is so important because you're so right. Like you wouldn't even want it even only in the OBM's head. Like you would literally want it written down so that if the OBM left, if the VA left, if you were sick, that it doesn't matter. Everyone has access to that same information to be able to implement those things on behalf of someone else. Like, so that's super, super important. And a lot of people don't think about these things until it becomes a problem. And I think that's another benefit of having an OBM is that there is someone there that's thinking of that stuff for you, so you don't even have to think about that.
Yeah, 100%. I had a client a couple of weeks ago. She was running a masterclass, we were doing a launch. We went through the brief of what she wanted it to look like, and I was like, great. And she was like, fabulous. I'm off to Lisbon next week. I'll catch up with you when I'm back. And that ability for her to step away because we have systems and processes that we now operate, we now duplicate, we rinse and repeat, and we just update depending on, the topic, the nature, the time, the deliverables means that she could do that. And she was like, I don't have to worry about it. When I get back, Holly will brief me and then we'll launch it. So it's really, really important for you as a business owner to have that ability. It only leans into that freedom around your business, which is why most of us run our own businesses.
Yeah, I love that. So you spoke about something a little bit earlier before when I asked that question around, coaches or, your clients or service providers really having that fear of letting go of control. So what advice would you give to someone who struggles to delegate but knows that they need support? Or what role does mindset play in someone's ability to actually like start using an OBM?
100%. And I think, we know each other. I'm a huge believer in mindset. I think it's super important. And I think
Yes.
running a business and mindset go hand in hand. They really do. I have clients come to me sometimes where they're like, I hired this VA or I hired this graphic designer or this person and I had a really bad experience.
Yeah.
And it happens. It does, quite honestly. That's unfortunately
Can't
the
be
world.
avoided. Yeah.
It can't be avoided. And sometimes we have experiences that aren't great.
Yeah.
And but you have to look at that and go, okay, what have I learned from that? What
Yeah.
do I want going forward? And there's always this teething point, this stretchy point of, okay, well, they don't know my brand, they don't know my business yet. And I would say it's about being really clear on deliverables. I always say to my clients, I need to get into the weeds of your business. I need to learn what you like, what you don't like, what your preferences are. And that does take a bit of time. But that's why you have review points. That's why you do your due diligence. Full transparency, I never do an application for a VA. If I need a VA in my business, if my client needs a VA, I never put an application out. I will always look, do research. I will find their websites. I'll do like I have a bit of a checklist that I go through that I'm
Mm.
like, I know these things mean that I am like pre-qualifying them in my head. And I think that's really important when it comes to the trust. If you have certain things that are really important to you in your business, when you start delegating and you start handing over, have those pre-qualifiers, have those non-negotiables. Um, and it can be a simple tick list of like, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that? And yes, don't get me wrong, there is yeah, I've done that once or twice, or yes, I know that like the back of my hand. But I think as long as you going into it as a business owner are honest and open and transparent about what you're looking for, and you ask for the same, that's all you can ask, really. Be brave, be trusting, let go of things, iterate. And I think you can't go wrong from there.
Yeah, I love that so much because, yeah, I just wanted to ask that because I know that that's a big thing that stops people from, investing in any team member or even a coach, to be honest, is that, but mostly a team member, I would say, is that letting go of control being really difficult, or, what you see in common with like hiring a business coach or a team member is that, oh, but I've had a past experience that didn't go well. I hear it all of the time. It's so unfortunate that it is so common, but yes, sometimes you have to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince kind of thing. Like it's sometimes that's just, the cards that you're dealt with. And I believe no one quote me here, but I believe it's Alex Hormozy that says this when it comes to these sorts of situations of like, if you have had a bad experience with a team member or with a coach, like they've screwed you once, don't let them screw you twice by now never hiring someone ever again, because that's how they've screwed you twice, is they've actually stopped you from growing and moving forwards just because of that experience. And I found that so helpful in terms of like not losing my trust just because I made a wrong decision or I experienced something that wasn't great. It's like the lesson isn't don't ever hire someone again, do it all yourself, carry it all yourself, guess and figure it. That's not the solution, right? It's just to, learn from that and do better next time with what you have control over.
100%. And you're completely right that if you let that be the one that means you never hire again, your business will never grow because you physically, anyone that runs an online business will know you can physically not
No,
do everything in your business.
no.
And that's a great thing, right? To get to that point means you're growing and you're scaling and you need someone in your
So
business. How
true.
exciting. And to then let that affect you is only stunting your own growth. That's only affecting your own impact, your own revenue. So you're so right. It's so important to go, okay, what did I learn from this? What can I do better from this? What was out of my control? And how do I take that forward and hire someone that isn't a player, someone that is fucking fantastic at what they do? And I think some of the issues that come with hiring is financial. Like we say, people find it stretchy. And people might look at rates and go, oh, well, that's really expensive. And that alone, if you're thinking that, again, it's closing your world and your opportunity. Some people's rates are that much because they are fantastic at what they do.
Yeah.
And actually by paying more, you kind of have two options. I always think
Mm.
when you're taking on a team member, you pay a lower rate, but you have to commit time to some training.
Yeah.
You have to show them how to do things. Say you use Kajabi and you want a virtual assistant to step into Kajabi and help you do, scheduling emails, setting up landing pages, connecting some funnels. Well, if they don't know how to do that, you might pay them less, but you are going to have to teach them how to do it. Or you hire someone with a higher rate that is like, cool, no
Yeah.
worries, I can do it. So you have to be really clear on what you want from that person.
Mhm.
Um, because
Your
that's really important as
expectations
well.
have to match what you're paying, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
100%. Like that is so important to take your experiences, I think, and just be really clear on what you want. And like you say, manage your expectations.
Yeah. And like, just even transparently, when I first hired my first virtual assistant, like I was taught by a very masculine coach all of those years ago, like, oh, get someone offshore, pay $4 an hour, and they'll do everything. And I honestly didn't know any better. That was like my first point
Yep.
of reference of like, this is what you do. I had nothing to compare that to, didn't have self-awareness around the ethics and values around that. So what did I do? I hired a VA at $4 an hour, which is just wild to me because I would not work for $4 an hour. And yet I was paying someone $4 an hour. But exactly what you just said, I had to teach her everything. She knew nothing. And I was basically doing it all to teach her. And I invested a lot of time in that. I will go and say, I am still working with that same VA, but I am paying her so much more. And she now has the skill set and, can just do it without me kind of thing, in most instances, which is really, really awesome. But that was very time intensive, which is super risky because not everyone has the experience that I have where you actually are still working with that person you spent all of that time training. It was, very lucky in this instance, but I still had to invest so much time to get her to where she is now. And that was the cost. So it's like you either pay money and you get your time, or you pay with your time and a bit of money.
100%. And I think you have to choose what's right for you, right? In the time, in the moment, in your financials, you have to look at it and go, do you know what? I'm going to pay someone slightly less and I have the time. Or you go, do you know what? I need this done in a month and I know someone who can do it. And that's really important. Like only you can make that decision in your business, that what feels aligned and what feels right for you.
Yeah. And I would say that the thing with an OBM, which is different, I would say to a VA, is typically when you're looking or considering hiring an OBM, it's because you don't have the time. Whereas a VA, yes, you're hiring a VA also for time reasons, but it's usually just to take a bit off your plate. Whereas like an OBM is like that and other things, right? So
100%. I think there's a shift in the mentality. I think a lot of people take on a VA, myself included, when they're at a point in their business where they're growing, where they're like, oh God, I'm running out of time. I could just do with someone to take things off my plate. Whereas I think the mentality with an OBM is like, okay, I need to scale. I need systems. I need processes. I'm the bottleneck. I want to be stepping into the visionary, the leadership. I want to be on stage. I want to be doing masterminds. I want to be doing retreats. I want to be doing events. And it's really stepping into that leadership. And I would say that's the difference. I think it's the shift in where they're at in their business.
Yeah, 100%. Just shifting things a little bit. I don't know if you experience this. Obviously, I'm a business coach, you're an online business manager. Do you find that sometimes the lines are a little bit merged, where you sort of enter the role a bit of a business coach as well? Because I know that whilst I don't turn into a business manager, I certainly start to get some of those questions of like, how do you do this? What's the system for this and whatever else? And you and I think why we get one of the many reasons why we get along is we do have a lot in common in terms of our strengths, our skill set, our personality. So I enjoy those kinds of conversations. But for me, it personally, there starts to be a little bit of overlap. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, 100%. It's so funny you say this. I was having this conversation last week. 100%. I think, like you say, we're in a very similar situation. I am so lucky to have currently be in the behind the scenes of lots of different businesses, different business models, different structures, different industries, different niches, which gives me a real vast knowledge of what works, what doesn't work, what's working right now, what works for some people, doesn't work for other people. And I do find clients being like, well, what do you think about this? And how shall I do this? And start asking those more questions of like, well, what do you think of my offer stack? Do you think I should be pricing this differently? Like, who is this talking to my ideal client? Which, don't get me wrong, and I think there is overlap because it's so important. Like I said earlier, we're building systems for you as a business owner, but also for your ideal client. So it's really important to have that knowledge of your clients, their needs, their wants, their pain points, their desires, to be able to support you as an OBM. But there's definitely that crossover where I might get off a call and I'll be like, whoa, I feel like I was more of a business coach on that call than I was an OBM, because we're really then getting into strategy around the business and growth and finances and, looking at from a very different sort of business perspective as opposed to an operations perspective.
100%. So obviously we have now been working together for almost a year, which is super, super cool. You are an online business manager and you have a business coach, and I'm a business coach, and I have team as well. So we both see the power and the benefit of having both in our world. I'm really curious, as an online business manager, what has been the benefit for you as to having a business coach in your own business?
100%. I obviously work with you. I'm in tier two, so I have quite a lot of access to you. We have a private Slack channel. For me, I am one of those people. I think we all are. From the moment we are children, we are told, everyone always tells us, yes, that's great, you can do that. Or when you go to work, it's like, yep, good job. And when you step into this online business world and you run your own business, all of a sudden you're alone. No one is telling you how to do things. You are there, you are making these decisions, you are doing your research, you are looking at other people that are doing things that you want to be doing. And it can be really daunting and really scary. And it can be like, oh God, well, she did that. How am I going to do that? And the biggest benefit I have found having a business coach and someone in my corner that I can drop a message to when one, I'm either feeling fantastic about things and I'm like, yeah, this feels really good, I'm vibing, like I just want to let you know because I want to celebrate it. Or
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm having a wobble, I don't know what's going on. Has been hugely beneficial. I'm a person who really loves to like riff with people and I'm like, how about this? What about this? And like I do with my clients, it's sometimes you need somewhere to put your ideas that are not in your head. And I
Yes.
think that's really valuable to be able to say them to someone and get someone's perspective on it. What do you think? And it doesn't mean you have to be fully aligned you know,
Everything. Yeah.
with everything. But there are definitely golden nuggets where you're like, oh my God, yes, I know that. Why didn't I think of that? Thank you so much. Or it's like, I never thought of that because you don't know what you don't know, right? You have your knowledge and you do your research, but having someone else that is in different circles, different communities, gives you access to a whole different knowledge database, which has been invaluable, I think. So I would say for me, I think it's having that close proximity has been really beneficial for me. Like I have loved that as part of our sort of coaching container.
Yeah, I love that. And that feels really true for me too. Like, I obviously have a business coach myself, and I think there's so much value in, working with someone that's a few steps ahead of you that knows things that we don't know. And it's just how you grow and evolve. So, as an online business manager, obviously you have so many incredible clients. Your business has grown so much, even just in the time I've known you. Talk to me a little bit about like, yeah, how your business has evolved in, let's just say, the last 12 months.
Absolutely. So I obviously came to you when I had pivoted. I started off my business as a VA, like most of us do in this industry. You start as a VA or a tech VA or a social media manager, and then you pivot into the things you find that you like or that really
Yeah.
resonate with you. And I started as a VA. I was a VA for about 2 years, and then I pivoted my business to an OBM
Yeah.
because I naturally found I was doing a lot of strategy work with my clients, a lot of building, and I was like, oh, hang on, I'm an OBM and I'm just not charging for it.
Yeah.
And I was an OBM, I would say, for about 6 to 9 months before we started working together. And I came to Sofia when I was like, okay, something's just not working. Everything feels blocky, nothing's moving. I just didn't know where I was at in my business. My business felt really unaligned, which I just didn't understand because I was like, I thrive in these things. Like, I love the management, the operation, the big picture thinking. It is everything that speaks into the things I love. And I just couldn't get past these blockers. And I came to you and I was like, hey, like these are the things I just can't move past. And certainly within the first 3 months of us working together, I tripled my revenue. I rebranded my whole business. And again, like I was saying earlier, it was to have someone to sometimes give me permission. Prior to working together, I had rebranded my business. And what I found is I rebranded in a way that was completely unaligned with
Mm.
who I was because, I had seen things, I had been told things, and it was like, you need to do this and you need to do that. So I rebranded based on that. And I just ended up with this business that I was unaligned with. And actually, you gave me permission to be like, well, if it doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it.
You can change.
You can change it. And actually, I think for me, that was massive. And actually, I have taken that forward in my business to no end of really realizing our businesses are never a finished product. We are
Oh.
constantly developing, growing, evolving, iterating. And that was massive. And I rebranded for the second time, felt really, really aligned, felt like me. Like I said, I then started attracting my dreamy clients. Like within 3 months of us working together, I'm an OBM, so I only have so much capacity as well
That's
with
why
clients.
I'm also asking these questions because I think it's so easy as an OBM to cap yourself. So that's why I find this conversation really helpful because even if there's people listening right now that aren't OBMs, there's still so much to take from scaling whilst also not minimizing client impact, client results, and doing what you love. Yeah.
100%. And I think there were some major shifts for me that just transformed things. Things like I don't work a Friday now. I don't do client work on a Friday, but what that does for me is gives me a whole Friday to go like, great, I'm going to work on my business if I want to. But equally, if I want to go for coffee with my friends, I can. And I think working with you just gave me permission to do a lot of things that I felt I was like, oh, I've seen this and someone said that and I must do this. And you gave me this permission to be more fluid in my business
Mm-hmm.
and be a lot braver in my business and be like, okay, well, this client actually feels really unaligned. Um, you really I guess one of the biggest thing as well was taking on teams and knowing, I think we're all slightly control freaks when you run your own.
Totally. Totally.
So much love, I mean that. And it is hard to let go, even as an OBM. I find it really hard to let go. And, I think I came to you when I had maybe like two team members. I now have seven, and seven that I trust implicitly. Like they are brilliant. They all slightly do different things because for me, that's how I like to run my business. I've had experiences, and that's now how I choose to run it. And the permission to be like, cool, yeah, let's take on another person for this because I don't want to do as much of that work anymore, and I really want to lean into this. And because I'm an OBM, I obviously, like we're saying, I only have so many time of my hours, and I love the big picture thinking and the strategy and the mapping and the planning. And actually, what that's done is enabled me to really lean into that. So yes, I think the permission you gave me to be really, really flowing in my business, really fluid, really flexible, has been great.
Yeah, that's so awesome to hear. Thank you for sharing that because I just think your results are so cool. Like, it's not often someone gets to say they tripled their revenue within like a 90-day period and just have continued to grow whilst not necessarily adding always more to your plate, right? You've outsourced and delegated yourself, which, by the way, I think is such an incredible thing that you practice what you preach of like you are encouraging others to invest in delegating and you also do that yourself so that you
Yeah.
can continue to help more people. One thing I think super cool that's happened to you in the last 12 months that you might want to dive deeper into is you actually got married and then
Yes.
you went on the coolest honeymoon of a lifetime. I believe it was 6 weeks traveling away. Is that correct? Is it
We
6?
did 8 weeks.
8 weeks, even better. You went and had the most incredible time every day when I'd see your photos. I'm like, I'm so jealous right now. Talk to me about taking 6 weeks off business or what that looked like to run a successful business whilst being offline for that amount of time. Like 2 months is a long time.
It is, it is. It was an experience.
Yeah.
I
It's something I've not personally cracked the code on, by the way. So it's totally
Sorry.
okay to say it wasn't easy because I'm going away to Thailand and Vietnam like in 2 days. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to assume I'm not going to be getting much done because it is hard. So like I'm totally here to just
Yeah.
hear whatever your experience genuinely was.
So I would say it was 50-50.
Mhm.
It was incredible. The fact that I could say I have built a business that I can pick up and take anywhere, which you can with these
Yeah.
businesses,
Yes.
is incredible. I went quite literally halfway around the world. We
Yes.
went to New Zealand, we went to Australia, we went to Bali, and I could just take my business with me. And I was very lucky. One of the main things that I will forever be grateful for in that period was my team.
Yeah.
I could not have done it without them
Mm.
because of the time difference. I was like 12 hours.
Mm.
I could work in my morning or their evening, set them up, get them like ask them to do things, and it would be done by like the 12 hours if I get up or go to bed, if that makes sense. So I couldn't have done it without them. I was extremely lucky when I told all my clients, they were like, I love this for you. Great. Which also tells me a lot about my clients. Like
Yes.
that was so great and only supported the fact that I know they're my dreamy clients, the fact that they're going, oh my God, yes, I love this for you. Go enjoy, So that was great. And it was, I think not the downside, the thing I struggled with was I'm not sure Instagram paints the picture of traveling with your business that it is. People say, you can travel and take your business anywhere. You can. But there are tricky things when there's no Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter if you paid for it or not. There is no Wi-Fi. There's no internet. The internet in Bali, there's just no power. Um,
Mm.
or you land somewhere and you're like, this is so beautiful. Like we had days where we get to somewhere incredible and I'd be like, oh, I blocked today to work, but we're here and I don't want to work now. And I think that was really hard. And I knew that going in. We were originally going to do 3 weeks and then we were like, let's do 8 weeks and I'll take my business with me. So it was a huge learning experience. I'm incredibly fortunate that I could take my business with me. It was amazing. It enabled us to travel as well for 8 weeks, which was incredible. It meant I came back and nothing had changed. I just carried on. So a huge benefit by any means. I would I would just say it's maybe a little bit trickier than people make out.
Yeah, and that's I'm so grateful for your transparency because whilst it's of course possible, like literally our whole business is on a laptop, just take your laptop and you can do it anywhere. But it's one of
Yeah.
those things, and I think this is the part I haven't nailed is when I do travel interstate or overseas, I'm kind of on holiday mode and
Yeah.
like put aside all of the things like Wi-Fi and stuff. Like I'm incredibly nervous about that in Vietnam. I'm like, I don't know about this. I'm apologizing in advance to all my clients if I don't turn up to my own call. Hopefully I really do. But you just don't know. And that's this really
No.
scary thing. And so even though I'm available and I love what I do and I would love to be working, I'm too scared to take on calls while I'm away because I'm so
Yeah.
scared of not being able to follow through, not because of my commitment, but because of things that are totally outside of my control. And so
100%.
I'm about to go away for 2 weeks and my business will grow and I will sign clients and I will support clients every day. But I just currently don't really know what that's going to look like or feel like
Yep.
until I'm there. And I think that's the challenge that most people don't talk about. They'll take the photo in front of like
Yep.
the beach or by the pool, sipping a margarita or whatever it might be.
Yep.
And then they don't show the part of like, oh my God, like Zoom just doesn't work in this situation. And
Yep.
that I do find interesting. I personally do not resonate with or understand how people do that like full time. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think you're so right. It's things that are out of your control. We would go to places that we know had good Wi-Fi, or we'd stay at places and be like, great, we're all set up. But things happen, and
Yeah.
like you say, they're not in your control. Or, you know, quite honestly, I went halfway around the world, and the time difference wasn't fun. I was like, oh no, it'd be great, like my morning's UK afternoon. And actually, it just didn't work. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't great. I didn't enjoy it. And don't get me wrong, I was still there. I still showed up for my clients. I still did all my calls. Um, but there was a part of me that, like you said, I kind of wanted to be on holiday. But I
Yeah.
think that's that balance, and I think that's experience. I think that's, the more you do it, I'm sure the more you get used to it.
Of course.
But yeah, it was a great experience, and we are lucky we can take our business anywhere. It's just dealing with those little niggly things at the same time.
Yeah, and kind of to summarize this entire conversation, because now we have been yapping for a while. But what I would say is like I think actually that conversation we just had kind of shows the benefit and the importance of both of your and my role that we play in other
Mhm.
businesses. I help people to set it up in a spacious way so that when you do go away, you're not canceling 35 calls and everything's dependent on you, and you couldn't possibly do it. Like it's
Yeah.
possible, obviously. And then your role of like you said, you couldn't have traveled and continue to support clients and get things done without a team, and that just summarizes the benefits and importance of a business coach and the benefits and the
Yeah.
importance of an OBM in your business. They play different roles and equally powerful roles.
100%. I think they're so complementary of each other. They work so well together. They really give you such strong foundations in your business.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have loved this conversation because I think so many people need to adopt this mindset, know who and when to hire and what that actually looks like, because so many people just don't know these things, right? I get questions all the time from my clients asking these questions. So it's going to be great to be able to refer them to this episode. I have freaking loved this conversation. I love working with you. I'm so proud of the growth and the transformation you have had. Um, Tell us about where people can find you, get to know you more, maybe even work with you if and when you have capacity. Tell us all of the things.
So I am mainly on Instagram. You can head over there. It's hollygriffiths.co. That's where I tend to live. You'll also find me. I dabble in LinkedIn every now and again. You can also head to my website. But everything's there in terms of working with me. I offer a couple of different sort of packages and services. I have my high level retainer. So that's really in depth. It's 30 hours a month, and we get stuck into the details of your business. That is about impact and growth and moving the needle. I have my sort of middle level, which is called the vision, and that is more of a consultancy basis. So you get all my knowledge and my expertise on system processes, scaling your business. And this is for someone that kind of already has a team, a VA they love, a social media manager they love, a graphics designer they love, that they're like, I just need someone with that big picture thinking that can support me, be a second brain in my business. And then I also have my systems build. So I am a big believer in masterminds, automating your onboarding, systemizing your mastermind workshops and classes. So that is my systems build, which if you are that person that has been sitting on your masterclass for the last 6 months and just needs someone to do it, that is who that is for.
I love that. We will link all of that in the show notes. Holly, I can't say how grateful I am to have you in my life and also to have come on this podcast and YouTube and everything to help other people. So thank you so much for all of your time.
No, thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for having me here. It is always such a pleasure. I'm so grateful to have you in my business, endlessly supporting me as well. So thank you. And I will talk to you soon anyway.